Materials needed: Sentro Knitting Machine 48 pins, main yarn, waste yarn, darning needle, crochet hook 3.5 millimeters, scissor, stitch markers. Prepare knitting machine, locate white pin, reset round counter and turn it to tubular mode. Get waste yarn. Cast on. Knit 5 rows using the waste yarn. Cut the waste yarn. Get your main yarn. Knit 15 rows using your main yarn. If you want the top to be a little bit longer, you can add more rows. If you want to make a dress, knit 90 rows. Cut the main yarn. Get your waste yarn again. Knit 5 rows using the waste yarn. Set aside at least 75 centimeters of waste yarn and then cut. Using the darning needle, cast off. This is now the body of our output. Get your main yarn and your crochet hook. I'm using a 3.5 millimeters hook. Locate the two ends of the main yarn. From one of the ends, connect your main yarn. This is how I connect yarns. We will start adding edging. We will work on these loops. From the area of the yarn end, insert hook into that loop, yarn over and pull up a loop. Chain 1. SC2 into the same loop. SC2 into the next loop. Repeat SC2 into each loop all around. At the end, slip stitch into the first SC. Chain 1. SC1 into each stitch all around. At the end, slip stitch into the first SC. Get your stitch markers and we will locate the area for the shoulder straps. For the first marker, place it into the first SC. Count 24 stitches and place the next marker into the 24th stitch. Count another 24 stitches and place the next marker into the 24th stitch. Repeat for the last marker. We will create the shoulder straps on these markers. Get your hook. Chain 25 for the shoulder straps. Move to the back and SC1 into the next marker. Continue SC1 into each stitch across until you reach the next marker. Chain 25 for the other shoulder strap. Move to the next marker and SC1 into it. Continue SC1 into each stitch across until you reach the first marker. SC1 into the first SC. These are now the shoulder straps. Let's continue. SC1 into each back loop only of the shoulder strap. Continue SC1 into each stitch across until you reach the other strap. SC1 into each back loop only of the other shoulder strap. Continue SC1 into each stitch across until you reach the first marker. At the end, slip stitch into the first SC, fasten off and cut the yarn. Shoulder straps done. We move to the bottom area. Locate the other end and connect your main yarn. Get your hook. Just like the upper area, we will work on the loops. Start row 1, insert hook into the loop. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Chain 3, this will count as 1 DC. From the current loop, DC 1. Chain 2. DC2 into the current loop. Into the next loop, DC2, chain 2, DC2. DC2, chain 2, DC2, into the rest of the loops all around. At the end, slip stitch into the first DC chain 3. Slip stitch into the next stitch. SC1 into the chain to space. Start row to dot comma chain 6. This will count as 1 TR and chain to space. TR1 into the current chain to space. Into the next chain to space, TR1, chain 2, TR1. TR1, chain 2, TR1, into each chain to space all around. At the end, slip stitch into the first TR fourth chain. Slip stitch into the chain to space. Start row 3, chain 3. This will count as 1 DC. DC1 into the current chain to space. Chain 2. DC2 into the current chain to space. Into the next chain to space, DC2, chain 2, DC2. DC2, chain 2, DC2 into each chain to space all around. At the end, slip stitch into the first DC third chain. Fasten off and cut the yarn. If you wish to add more rows, repeat rows 2 and 3. We have finally completed the top. Now let's remove the waste yarn. The process of removing the yarn works the same with the knitted scrunchie tutorial. You may check my other tutorials. Remove the other waste yarn. This top fits to kids with chest measurement 18 to 24 inches. Let's add sleeves. Move to one of the armholes. Grab your hook and your main yarn. Create a slip knot. Remove the hook. Start row 1. Insert hook into the bottom area of the armhole. Pull up the slip knot. Chain 3. This will count as 1 DC. DC 1 into the current stitch. Chain 2. DC 2 into the current stitch. Skip 2 stitches, DC2, chain 2, DC2 into the next stitch. Repeat all around the armhole, skip 2 stitches, DC2, chain 2, DC2 into the next stitch. At the end, slip stitch into the first DC third chain. Slip stitch into the next stitch. SC1 into the chain to space. Start row 2, chain 6. This will count as 1 TR and chain to space. TR1 into the current chain to space. Into the next chain to space, TR1, chain 2, TR1. Repeat into each chain to space all around the armhole, TR1, chain 2, TR1. At the end, slip stitch into the first TR fourth chain. slip stitch into the chain to space. Start row 3, chain 3. This will count as 1 DC. DC 1 into the current chain to space. Chain 2. DC 2 into the current chain to space. Repeat into each chain to space all around the armhole. DC 2, chain 2, DC 2. At the end, slip stitch into the first DC third chain. Fasten off and cut the yarn. If you wish to add more rows, repeat row 2 and 3. Repeat the same process for the other sleeve. We're done! Thank you for watching my tutorial. For future video tutorials, subscribe to my channel.